Is China on the brink of a state financial crisis? Find out how the pandemic has affected the economy, local governments, and the global economy as a whole. Join us as we explore the causes, consequences, and the possible solutions of China's financial struggles in this must-watch video. China's state financial crisis refers to the fiscal difficulties faced by its local governments, which are responsible for most of the public spending in the country. Local governments in China have accumulated huge debts over the years, mainly through off-budget financing channels, such as local government financing vehicles, LGFVs, public-private partnerships, PPPs, and policy banks. These debts are estimated to be around 40% of China's GDP, or about $6 trillion. The problem is that many of these debts are backed by low-quality assets, such as land, infrastructure, and real estate projects, which have seen their values decline due to the economic slowdown and the oversupply of housing. Moreover, many of these debts are due to mature soon, putting pressure on the local governments to repay them or roll them over. However, the local governments have limited sources of income as they rely heavily on land sales and tax transfers from the central government, both of which have been affected by the pandemic. As a result, many local governments are facing a liquidity crunch and a solvency risk, as they may not be able to service their debts or meet their other obligations. The main reason why China's local government borrowed so much money is that they were tasked with implementing the central government's ambitious stimulus plan after the global financial crisis of 2008 and 2009. The plan aimed to boost China's economic growth by investing heavily in infrastructure, urbanization, and social welfare. However, the local governments were not given enough fiscal resources to carry out the plan, as they only received about 40% of the total public revenues, while bearing about 80% of the total public expenditures. Therefore, they resorted to borrowing from various sources, especially from the shadow banking system, which offered easy and cheap credit. Another reason why China's local governments borrowed so much is that they faced strong incentives to do so, as their performance was evaluated based on their GDP growth, fiscal revenues, and investment levels. Moreover, they faced weak constraints and oversight, as the central government's regulations and supervisions were lax and ineffective. Furthermore, they faced moral hazard, as they expected to be bailed out by the government or the state-owned banks in case of default, as it happened in the past. Moreover, the state financial crisis could damage the confidence and credibility of local governments, making it more challenging for them to attract private investment and financing. This could result in higher financial risks, the interconnectedness and interdependence of local governments. LGFVs, PPPs, and policy banks could expose the fragility and vulnerability of China's financial system. The state financial crisis could exacerbate existing inequalities China advances in Chinese society, such as the rural-urban divide, regional disparities, and corruption and mismanagement by local officials. This could lead to social unrest and discontent. The state financial crisis could also have negative spillovers for the global economy, as China is the world's second largest economy and the largest trading partner for many countries. A slowdown or shock in China's economy could reduce global demand and trade flows, affecting the growth and recovery of other countries, especially emerging and developing ones. To address this complex and multifaceted problem, a comprehensive and coordinated approach is required from the central and local governments, financial institutions, and the world community. Possible solutions include debt restructuring, debt resolution, and debt prevention. Restructuring is an immediate solution that could ease the repayment pressure and liquidity crunch faced by local governments by extending the maturity, lowering interest rates, or swapping them for new bonds or equity. Debt resolution involves writing off bad debts, transferring them to the central government, or state-owned banks, or selling them to the private sector or foreign investors. Debt prevention is a long solution that involves the fiscal and financial systems within the country to prevent the accumulation of new debts. This could include strengthening the fiscal discipline and accountability of local governments, enhancing fiscal transfers and tax revenues, diversifying financial sources, and improving regulation and supervision of the local government's borrowing and spending. China's state financial crisis is not only an internal issue but a global one. It has significant effects on the world economy and the international financial system. Therefore, the global community has a stake and a role in helping China overcome its state financial crisis and ensure a smooth transition to a more sustainable and balanced growth model. Secondly, the global community can coordinate with China on macroeconomic China's exchange rate policy and financial regulation to enhance policy consistency and effectiveness among major economies and international financial institutions. This could include aligning monetary policy and fiscal policy to maintain global liquidity and demand, adjusting exchange rate policy to reflect economic fundamentals and market forces, and harmonizing financial regulations to prevent regulatory arbitrage and systemic risks. China's state financial crisis is facing many uncertainties and unpredictabilities which can alter or affect its path and outcome. Some of the uncertainties are: the COVID-19 pandemic was a major uncertainty that could impact China's state financial crisis by causing significant disruption and damage to China's economy and society. It has increased China's fiscal and financial pressures and risks by reducing economic growth and fiscal revenues, increasing public spending and debt levels, and creating uncertainty and volatility in the global economy and international financial system. Therefore, the evolution and impact of the pandemic may play a crucial role in determining the severity and duration of China's state financial crisis and the feasibility and effectiveness of its solutions. Domestic and international developments are also important uncertainties that may affect China's state financial crisis by creating new risks or opportunities for China's economy and society and the global economy and society. Domestic developments may include political and social changes and events in China, such as leadership transitions, policy shifts, social movements, and natural disasters that may alter the priorities and preferences of the government and the public and the capabilities and constraints of policymakers and implementers. China's state financial crisis is a serious challenge to its economic and social development, as well as the global economy and the international financial system. It is the result of a combination of factors, such as the stimulus plan, the incentive structure, and the governance system, which have led to excessive and inefficient borrowing and spending by the local governments. It has significant consequences such as lower economic growth, social unrest, and global spillovers, which could threaten China and the prosperity of China and the world. It requires a comprehensive and coordinated China involving debt restructuring, debt resolution, and debt prevention, as well as coordination and communication within the global community to address the root causes and the underlying issues of China's state financial crisis. And that's all for the video. If you enjoyed watching it and learned something new, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notifications of our future videos. Until next time.